So, disclaimer, in regards to my whole story about Toon, the general story is all true. I'll only be discussing the one detail that was not true, so be aware that I didn't make up anything else or fabricate any other information apart from the thing I'll be addressing. I hoped to save this video for after the Toon Critic fiasco, but if I keep this hidden any longer, I might cripple from it, so here it is. Hi, my name is Abby. Back when I first learned about the first victim, and when I realized I was a victim, I knew I had to make my story heard, in one way or another. But the way I chose was wrong. I didn't trust anyone to make my story and broadcast it themselves. My trust was already shattered, and I couldn't bring myself to give my story to a second source. I wanted to tell it myself, and I wanted it to go on the channel because I knew the word would spread faster that way. What I didn't know what to do was how to tell it while staying anonymous. I was so afraid of how this experience would follow me, what it would do to my future and my present, how it would affect me. I was too afraid to find out. I was paranoid it would never leave me alone and would haunt me forever. So I decided I would twist the story a bit. I said that it was a friend of mine who went through Toon's manipulation, when it was actually me. And I thought very little of it then. All I cared about was getting this story out, and proving there was a pattern to Toon's behavior. The fact I changed this scenario at the time was a side thought to me, a detail that would be glazed over, and all that would matter is the fact I shared the experience. That's not what happened. What happened was I got more praise than I deserved. I was being called a great friend and an amazing person for doing this for my friend when I clearly wasn't. I was benefiting more from it than my made-up friend was. I was gaining from it, from a story that wasn't even 100% fact and was spun, which made me look like a better person than I am, which was never my intention. And that struck me really hard. I didn't anticipate a reaction like that, when I obviously should have. And that thought shook me. I gave more of a shit about me and what would have happened to me if this story was tied to me in a negative way. Like, when from the very beginning, I should have just spilled all the contents, but I didn't. And I don't know if I will ever forgive myself for that. I was so worried and hung up on how awful a thing it was for me to do, to hide myself from this mistake and to deny it ever happened. The voice in my head would tell me, it's okay, you told the story and that's all that matters. Who cares if you were the true victim? This isn't about you, it's about everyone else. They're satisfied with the story they got. What's the use in telling the truth? I let this voice dictate my choice in staying as silent as I did for as long as I did. The anxiety of saying a single word chewed me up and spat me out dozens of times in the hopes I would never get up again. I knew very well I was a coward for not throwing my hat into the circle all the way, but only halfway, and that everyone else deserved the support given to them because they threw their hat the whole way and I didn't. I was profiting from this, and I couldn't bear it. I would have happily taken the support if I had told the truth and told the story correctly, but that one lie plagued me and made me want to push it all away. I realized that telling the truth and suffering loss was more important than leaving a lie and gaining from it. And I didn't want people to learn the truth through some second source with some drama attached to it. Because people deserve to get the truth from me. The people who gave support and sent well wishes deserve to be given the reality instead of being left in the dark. Being in the dark and lying to save face was what made Toon so powerful in the first place. By continuing to let that go on, let this lie of mine go on, I'd be no better than him. By sweeping my actions under the rug, I'd be doing the same thing that led Toon to get to where he was. I would have been a massive hypocrite by letting it float on by. And I won't stand for that. And believe me, for a while, I didn't know what to say or do. Should I let the whole thing go and keep people satisfied, or come out with the truth and disappoint all of them? Should I stay quiet because of the drama already going on and to just avoid adding more? Or should I stay quiet because this whole thing, this whole mess, isn't about me, but about all who were victims of Toon? I confused and scared myself so much with these thoughts. I overanalyzed the whole situation, and at times, I broke a little bit. And at the end of it all, I knew what I should do and what I should have done in the first place. I'm not proud of myself at all. Even if I did get the story out, even though everything else, from the chat logs and the screenshots to the general story itself, was truth, and even though it was useful in this whole situation, that one little detail being a lie couldn't make me proud of myself. I couldn't be proud. I refuse to give myself a pat on the back. I refuse to accept credit or respect. I was lost in a sea of uncertainty and paranoia, of the fears of belittlement, hatred, disappointment, disrespect, and the like. I was afraid of becoming the next target and adding on to the problem. I was choking on my own guilt. Hell, I'm even scared right now, making this, that I'll be accused of so many other things from this video, like trying to be too overdramatic to gain sympathy, or trying to gain extra praise by making this video, when all I want is to scream to the heavens what really happened. I was keeping it all to myself and hoping it would all just pass and people would stay happy. I kept thinking about how terrible I was and how much of a coward I've been since the damn video went up. I kept thinking about how I should have been better and that I should have been stronger and smarter, and I wanted to think I could hide behind this fake person to shield myself from the reality of being a victim. But I didn't care. I only cared about telling the truth. And at that point, my only goal was to cast my fears aside and embrace the consequences of speaking up. I am more than willing to take whatever criticism I receive, constructive or otherwise. And I'm willing to take the blows because it's what's necessary for me to move on from this and to learn from it. Because at the end of it all, it isn't about me. It is about everyone. It's about us. Everyone who was affected by all these experiences. And even if my intentions were harmless, the results were not. I may still feel like I don't deserve what you guys have been giving me because of my lie. But the truth of the matter is, I was a victim. And I tried to deny it, when that should not have been what to do. Even though I dodged the bullet of being led into a sexual roleplay, I was still emotionally manipulated. I let myself fall for him, only to have my heart broken in half when I gained enough courage to try and confess, and he said, I'm dating somebody. His whole game was that, to make girls fall for him, and then to break their hearts. And he played his cards on me so well that he invaded my thoughts and distracted me from my studies. He pulled at me psychologically enough to make me almost abandon my morals and change my ways of living that I was comfortable with. I let him nearly get his way with me, even though we both knew I was between 16 and 17 years old. 16 when he met me, and 17 when we'd cut ties. I can expect a lot of things to come up from this. Hate, confusion, and even the constructive feedback and good advice, maybe. Who knows? It could be a mixed bag. I can expect it all. I know people will have different views on this, and I'm not afraid of that. If anything, I'm curious to know what people think. And what people think most likely will influence me to not make this mistake again. I can rest easier knowing that you guys know the truth now, because as I said, you guys deserve it. You never should have been lied to. And I'm sorry. And I will do whatever is needed to earn that forgiveness. Note the words do and earn. Saying my piece was only part of it. And just like a lot of people have been saying before, in regards to Toon, forgiveness has to be earned. And I'm well aware that rectifying a wrongdoing, especially online, is very difficult to do. I'm willing to accept that challenge. I implore you now, go give your support to those who did throw their hat all the way, and not partially like me. They are the ones who need it. And I'm confident that this whole thing will convince me to not do this kind of thing ever again, knowing the impact that it had on me and what might have happened as a result. And again, this video is just saying it is just part of it. I'll do whatever I have to. And I guess that's all my thoughts spilled out for you guys. If you stuck around for this whole thing, then I thank you for that. Goodbye.